There's nothing worse than being taken for granted by someone who you really care about, or treated like an option, or him making you feel like your efforts are going unnoticed or not appreciated. So what do you do about it? We're going to talk about that today. Hello, my name is Matthew Coast, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about how to be his priority and stop being just an option to him. And so how do you make a man make you a priority in his life? So what do you do? First one is, number one, there's actually 6 things that you will want to do if you want to turn things around with a guy. Number one is you want to set a higher standard. You want to set a standard of him prioritizing you. So this is the foundation for everything that you're going to be doing and what it is that we're talking about here. You want to raise your standards for how you're treated by him, for how you're treated by men, for how you're treated by other people in your life. You want to raise your standard for yourself and who you are and what you create and how you act in your life. And then you want to communicate that new standard to him. Don't just leave it up to luck and hope that he figures it out. You want to actually communicate it to him. So make your new standard that he treats you well. Make him be kind and sweet to you. Make him treat you like a gentleman should. These are the things that you'll want to do if he's taking you for granted, or if you want to start having people in your life who treat you like a priority. So how do you set this standard? So you're going to say different things. You're going to be communicating this. There's a whole bunch of different ways to do it. And one of the best ways to do it, one of the easiest ways to do it is this. You're going to say things like this. You're going to say, I only date guys who say sweet things to me. So if you're dating a guy and you're in kind of this dating world and you're in a dating scenario, you're not in an actual relationship with them, this is what you would say. Or you might say, I only get into relationships. I only will get into a relationship with a guy who puts in effort to show me how much he cares. So basically you're setting a frame and you're saying, this is really attractive to me. This is what I want. This is how you can get into a relationship with me. Basically you're showing him a path. You're creating a path and you're saying, this is how you get to the promised land. That's something I talk about if you've watched my other videos about shining a light. You're shining a light onto where it is that you want him to go so that he knows how to get you guys to your happily ever after. And then when you tell a man standards, when you communicate your standards to him, this sends a signal to a man's brain that he needs to treat you better, that you're a woman of value, and that you are in a position where this is expected. This is normal behavior that you have when somebody dates you or is in a relationship with you. And then the man will think in his mind, oh, she's this kind of a woman. She's the kind of woman that gets treated really well by men. And this is something that I should be doing here. And then you need to hold him to that standard. And it's very, very important because men a lot of times will try to push past your boundaries. They'll try to test your boundaries and see how serious you really are about these standards that you have. And so you have to hold him to that standard, because if you don't, he's going to walk all over you, and you don't want to get walked all over. Okay, so number 2 is you want to create something that I call the priority frame. And so one of the standards that you should require is that he treats you like a priority in order to be around you. And so there's this thing called a frame, and I call it a frame. And what it is basically a spoken or unspoken social agreement that you have either with yourself or another person. In this case, we're talking about creating a social agreement with another person, this man or the men that you date, or this man that you're in a relationship with. And if you want him to treat you as a priority, you need to set that frame that says that he must treat you as a priority. There must be a unspoken agreement between the two of you that he must treat you like a priority, or he doesn't get to hang out with you anymore. So if he doesn't make you a priority, you restrict his access to you until he does. So it doesn't matter how attracted to you, because I get this all the time where I'll talk to women about this kind of thing. And they're like, yeah, but I don't want to, and I'm so in love with him, and he's so amazing, and I don't want to shake things up. And it's like, well, what's more important to you, the relationship or being treated like you're a valuable, amazing, special woman who deserves to be a priority in somebody's life? And so it doesn't matter how much you miss him, doesn't matter how much you like him. If he doesn't treat you as a priority, he doesn't get access to you until he does. That's how you set the frame. Because what will happen is you'll say, okay, he's treating me like a priority. He gets to spend time with me. He gets to hang out with me. And it'll start creating this association in his brain where he goes, well, if I want to hang out and spend time with this wonderful, amazing woman, I have to start treating her as a priority. And so what does that even mean, though? What does it mean to treat you as a priority? It means that he's making time to spend with just you with no distractions. It means that he travels to come and see you, not just you traveling to go see him. It means treating you like you're special, like you're important, and like you're valuable to him. It means taking your thoughts, emotions, and needs into consideration when he's connecting with you. So let him know that this is what you want. And once he gets into the habit of doing it, the frame will be set, and he'll expect that he should treat you this way in order to be with you. So you want to create a social agreement with him, whether it's spoken or unspoken, doesn't matter. You want to communicate to him that he needs to start doing those things. And if he doesn't, then he doesn't get access to you. That's the social agreement or the frame that he steps into. So number 3 is you're going to create some scarcity. And so there's a thing out there called the scarcity principle, and there's a thing called the law of familiarity. And the law of familiarity is a law that basically states that the more we're around something, the more that we'll start taking it for granted over and over and over again. And it's a really unfortunate law, but it's true. And it happens with everything. And the classic example that I give is that of a song, right? You hear a song and you love the song, and it's like your favorite song. And you're like, oh, this song is so awesome. I love it. And you like download it, and then you're like listening to it over and over and over again. And then next thing you know, it just, if you listen to it every day, all the time, which many of you have probably done this before, then all of a sudden the song's it's not as special. It's not as amazing. Maybe it's still great, but it's not as amazing as it was when you first listened to it. But if you stop listening to that song and then you hear it on the radio or one of your friends plays it or something like that, you're like, yes, it's my song again. Let's play it. And so what is that? What's being created right there, right? It's a thing called scarcity. And scarcity creates value. Whenever there's a high demand for something and it's a scarce or limited resource, or you have restricted access to it, you value it more when you're around it. And so this is just human psychology, and this works for everything and everyone. And so be his favorite song that he never gets tired of. That's what your game plan with this is. All right, so that's number 3. Number 1 was setting a higher standard. Number 2 is setting a priority frame. Number 3 is creating scarcity. Remember, we have 6 of these. And number 4 is let him invest in you. And so what do men value? Men value things that they work for and they earn. And so the more that he invests in you from a time standpoint, energy, emotions, he's traveling to see you, he's doing a lot, he's doing things for you, he's picking things up for you, he's doing all these things, the more he's going to rationalize in his mind, either consciously or subconsciously, that he really values you a whole lot. So you want to create a space for him to start moving towards you, to pursue you, to chase you, to invest in you, to do a whole bunch of things for you. That way he values you more and more and more, and he rationalizes it. And a lot of times women get stuck on the financial one, because finances are also a thing that will make a man value you, but it's only one thing. It's only one thing. It's not always the most important thing. So the more he invests in you, the more he'll feel like you're different, important, and special. So only allow him access to your life if he invests his time, energy, and effort into you. Stop letting maybe men, maybe their way into your life. That's what I want to say. Stop letting men maybe their way into your life. Maybe men maybe their way into your life. Okay. Hopefully. So number five is creating shared positive experiences. You want him to feel like he can't wait to see you again. He wants to hold you in his arms and cherish every moment that he gets to spend with you. And when he's away from you, he's just thinking about you and how amazing and awesome you are. And he's just sitting there thinking like, I can't wait to see her again, right? He feels like he's lucky to be with you. He can't get you out of his mind. He looks forward to seeing you whenever he can. And the way that you do that is by creating positive shared experiences. So avoid getting into fights and arguments and getting upset all the time. This will only sabotage things. And there's kind of a phrase out there that some people use in both the men and the women's dating space. And it's a horrible phrase. And it goes like this. It says, if you treat him mean, you'll keep him keen. It's actually a really catchy phrase. However, that only works with low self-esteem men. And over time, if you treat him really, really badly, he'll start to resent it. His friends will tell him about it. His family will know about it, and he'll start hating you, and eventually you'll break up. So my suggestion is that you don't treat him mean, and instead you create positive, amazing experiences. That way, when he thinks about you, he thinks about how amazing you are instead of treating him really badly. And then he's like, has a bunch of weird emotions, sometimes negative emotions around you. That'll sabotage things long term for sure. And you don't want to do that. So how do you do this? How do you create positive shared emotions, emotional experiences? What you do is you get into your own positive emotions. So connect with your own positive emotions. And then when you're around him, you are having a fun time and you suck him into that world of having a fun time, and you both have a fun time with each other. You can bring out the soft side of yourself, because men just eat up that feminine soft side of women. And if you do that, if you connect with the soft side of yourself and you connect with him through that, it can be really, really powerful. So focus on connection, being playful, and having fun when you're with him. If you do those things, you'll create lots of positive emotional experiences with him, and it'll be really, really awesome. So do that. And then number six is the final one, and this is probably the most important thing that you can possibly do and think about, and that is being willing to walk away. And so if you've done all the previous steps and you have to decide what's more important to you, having the man that in question or having the relationship that you want. And I talk about this all the time. You can either choose the man. We get a lot of women that come to us, and I was talking about this last time. In the men's dating industry, they have a term for this. It's called one-itis. It's when you're stuck on one person who doesn't like you nearly as much as you like him, or isn't really right for you, or any of that kind of stuff. And you're trying to mold them and fix them into the right person and make them attracted and do all the right things. It's like one of the worst things that you could possibly do, right? Which is why they call it one-itis. It's like a disease that people have, with one person. If you decide that it's more important to be treated as a priority, which is what I recommend, it's more important to have the relationship that you want and be treated as a priority. You need to be willing to walk away from any man who doesn't prioritize you. If he's not willing to treat you like a priority, walk away. He'll either do what he needs to get you back, or you'll find someone who does treat you like a priority. And I talk about this all the time. What's the difference between a woman who really believes in her value and a woman who doesn't? A woman who believes that she deserves to be treated like $1 million instead of like $5. She will not get into these situations. And if she ends up in one of these situations, she gets out of it immediately, and she only goes to places where she's treated like she's $1,000,000, where people see her value, where men see her value. And that's what you want to do. You only want to go places where men see your value. All right, so let's do a recap real quickly here. Number 1 is setting a higher standard. Number 2 is setting a priority frame. Number 3 is creating scarcity. Number 4 is letting him invest in you. Number 5 is creating shared positive experiences. And then number 6 is being willing to walk away if a man doesn't prioritize you. So